So we're going to look at expanding single brackets today. I'll be honest, I'm assuming that you already can master this, but if you can't, we're going to do a little tutorial right now. So let's go with a fairly straightforward question. A plus 3. Okay, so at the moment that says 2a plus 3. So if you are asked to expand the brackets, essentially you need to use multiplication. So you're going to need to do 2 times a, which we just write as 2a, and then 2 times positive 3, which is positive 6. So your final answer is 2a and positive 6 together. Okay. Now, you may be used to the arrows. From this point forward, I'm going to use a grid instead. So when I use a grid, basically it's set up a bit like the Chinese method. So I'm going to put what's in the brackets on the top. So a and then positive 3. And then whatever's outside the bracket, I'm going to put on the right hand side. Okay, so I'm still going to multiply it. So a times 2 gives me 2a, and then 3 times 2 gives me 6, and it's positive. So that's my final answer in the grid there. Okay. The reason I use the grid is you'll see in the double brackets and the triple brackets, it's much more accurate when it comes to signs. And if there's negatives in there, you don't drop them out. Okay. So let's do another question. I'll make it a bit harder this time. Well, hopefully not too much. Okay. So again, I'm going to draw the grid. Done that wrong. Okay, so what's in the bracket goes at the top. So 3 and a negative a, and then what's in front of the bracket goes at the side. And you're just going to multiply to fill in these boxes here. You're just going to multiply whatever's at the top times whatever's by the side, exactly like the Chinese method. So 3 times a is 3a, and then negative a times a positive a. Well, a times a is a squared, and negative times positive will give me a negative. So my final answer is going to be 3a minus a squared. Okay, or you can also write that, because that 3a is positive, you could swap the order of these around, so you could have negative a squared plus 3a. They are both exactly the same answer. Okay, so we'll do a couple more examples. So if I had something like 2a brackets 5 minus 3a. Again, I draw a grid. So you've got 5 and then negative 3a, and you've got 2a on the outside. So we're going to do 5 times 2a. Well, 5 times 2 is 10, and then there's just 1a involved there. And then you've got negative 3a times positive 2a. Well, 3 times 2 is 6. A times a is a squared. But you had a negative 3 and a positive 2, so it's going to be negative overall. So your final answer for this expression is going to be either 10a minus 6a squared, or you can put the a squared first, that'd be negative 6a squared, and then that's a cheeky positive 10a, so it's going to be plus 10a. Okay, so we'll do one more example with some extra letters at the front. So we're going to do, I don't know, minus 6a squared b, brackets 3a minus 2b squared. Okay, we'll go with that. So looks complicated, but it really isn't. Again, I'm just going to draw my grid. So whatever's at the top, whatever's in the bracket goes in the top. So you've got 3a and a negative 2b squared. And then whatever's at the front goes on your side. So negative 6a squared b. So let's start multiplying these. 3a times negative 6a squared b. So 3 times 6 gives me 18. It was a positive 3 and a negative 6. That's going to be negative overall. Now you have a here times by a squared. Well, that should give you a cubed. And then you've just got that b as well over here. There's no b on the top, so that will just stay the same. Okay, likewise, doing the next one. So you've got -2 times -6. Well, negative and negative is going to make a positive. And 2 times 6 gives me 12. At the moment, you've only got this a squared involved, so that's going to stay the same. But then you've got b squared times an extra b over here, so that's going to be b cubed. So your final answer is either going to be -18a cubed b plus 12a squared b, or you can switch the order around because that 12a squared b is positive, that can just go at the front. B cubed, there we go. And then -18 a cubed b will go afterwards. Okay, but hopefully you should be familiar with that. If not, you do need to spend time practicing this before you move on to the other expanding.